Today, we're putting another mystery brand to the test, and this brand is called Going Make. Now, if you've spent any time on Amazon, you've probably seen their tools pop up, as they make drill guides, router jigs, layout tools, and much more. The problem is, I've heard very few woodworkers say, man, I gotta get me some Going Make.
I'd never heard that before.
But today, I'm testing out 6 of their latest additions to their lineup to answer one simple question. Are these knockouts or knockoffs? And here's where it gets interesting. 3 of these tools are actually miter gauges. One costs $60, one costs $90, and one costs $120. And Going Make even sells another for $230. So as we go through this video, let's review these 6 new tools and find out if Going Make can earn our trust to become either a knockout or a knockoff. So we're going to start off today with the least expensive precision tool, and that's what comes in this tiny little box. Inside the box, you're going to get Going Make's scribing ruler, which just requires a little bit of assembly. Now in the past, I've always been a little bit leery about assembling scribing tools and squares that aren't fully assembled from the factory, but this thing has a fail-safe to help prevent any frustration. On the 2 pieces, there's a male and female hexagonal shape that allow you to easily secure both pieces firmly together. And once they're in place, it's just a matter of securing them together with the 3 hex bolts that are included with the kit. Now that we have everything together, one of the first things you'll notice is this kit does indeed come with a Pica style pencil. Now let's take a look at the ruler on this item. As you can see, it has both metric and imperial, with the metric going up to 315 millimeters or about 12.5 inches. You also probably noticed that little red nubbin right in the center of the ruler. This is actually used to line your measurements when you go to scribe your lines. To adjust your scribe line, simply loosen up the metal knob on top, adjust your measurements, and then tighten it into place so that you can make your markings. And you'll see that there's 2 red pointers both on the imperial side as well as the metric side. It's these pointers that are perfectly aligned to the 2 holes in the center of the nubbin that are perfectly sized so that you can place your Pica pencil into it. Now let's take a quick look at the wings of this scribe tool. As you can see, these wings are pretty extensive, coming in at 6 inches long.
Nice.
And there's even 2 tips on either side of that wing to give you support when you go to rest it up against the edge of your workpiece. And the combination of those 2 little tips and the extensive size of this wing are just going to make this thing extremely stable on your wood. But let's do 2 tests with this scribing tool. First off, I want to make sure that this thing is actually square. So I'll strike a line on both sides of this Going Make scriber, and then I can grab my woodpecker square and strike a line right next to those 2 lines. And if we take a close look at both pairs of those scribed lines, you can see that they're perfectly parallel, ensuring me that this thing is actually square. Now let's test the accuracy of the scribe function. All I'm going to do is to set the scriber at 11.5 inches and scribe a line. Then I can grab my tape measure, get my measurement, and as you can see, we're dead on at 11.5 inches. So is this thing a knockoff or a knockout? Well, due to the fact that it's extremely sturdy, is dead on accurate, and is completely square, I'm gonna have to give this thing a straight up knockout. But we're just getting started. Let's move on to our next item, which is also extremely cheap, coming in at just under 30 bucks. Now at first glance, you may not know exactly what this is.
What is that thing?
This is actually a door hinge jig to help you set the mortises for your hinges. And this set comes with all of the accessories you need to completely set that hinge, including a driver bit, a router bit, and a self-centering drill bit. So how does this thing actually work? Well, first off, we need to get our door in position. In this case, I'm going to use a piece of old butcher block as an example. Next, I want to grab my hinge, in this case, a 5/8 inch radius hinge that's 3.5 inches wide. And you can also use this jig for square hinges, you just have to chisel out the corners. Not only that, but this jig not only works for 5/8 inch radius hinges, but also 1/4 inch radius hinges. And if you don't know the exact width of your hinge, that's not a problem either, as you can slide your hinge into the jig just to confirm the width. Now we're going to take that hinge and place it on the appropriate side. Then we can lock in the width with the 2 bronze knobs both on the top and the bottom of the jig. With the width now set, we now want to place the included router bit into our router. Then we can look at the jig once again, and you'll see that there's 2 notches cut out on the very side, and these are for the hinge depth. These are simply depth gauges for our router bit. In order to use this, we first need to secure the jig to our door. Once we have our jig nested right on top of the door, we can lock it into place with the screw knob that's on the side of the jig. Then it's just a matter of placing our router on top of that depth guide and lowering the bit until it touches the very top of the jig. And with everything now set, we can now mortise out for the hinge by simply placing the router into the little notch on the top of the jig. Then it's just a matter of turning the router on, following the template, and hogging out all the material for that hinge. Then we can remove the jig, place that hinge into the mortise, and you can see how beautifully it fits.
Fits so nice.
Then it's just a matter of using the included self-centering drill bit to perfectly align the holes for the screws to attach the hinge. So what do I think about this item? Well, due to its ease of use and setup and the fact that it comes with all of the accessories to completely install that door hinge, I think I'm gonna have to give this item another knockout rating. Now let's talk miter gauges, and this is where this brand begins to get really interesting, as most brands produce 1 or 2 miter gauges, but this one produces a heck of a lot more. In fact, I believe I have every single one of their miter gauges in my possession now, and each one costs just a little bit more, and that's because each one's got a few more features. But the real question is, are each one of these miter gauges getting progressively better the more we spend on them, or are we just paying for more aluminum? And that's what I hope to find out. And their 3 latest miter gauges range in price from $60 up to $120, and they even make a high-end one at $230, which I did an entire video on a few months ago. And I can tell you right now, their $230 one is my primary miter gauge in my shop, and after having it for almost a year now, I have no complaints whatsoever. But today, we're here to take a look at their new ones. So let's start off by taking a look at their cheapest one, which comes in at a whopping 59 bucks. Now, I don't know of any other miter gauge you can get at this price point, other than maybe the Bauer that's available at Harbor Freight. So let's see how this miter gauge compares by taking a look at some of its features. First off, let's slide it into my 3/4 inch miter slot. Now, if we look at the very top of the fence of this miter gauge, you're once again going to notice that it not only has metric, but also imperial, which is something that the Bauer just doesn't have. You'll also notice on the going make that it has a magnified marker so that you can make sure that your stop block is exactly where you want it. And the stop block is easily loosened and tightened into place with a little knob on the very top of it. Now let's take a look at the stop block itself. As you can see, this stop block has almost zero deflection, which is really nice for a miter gauge at this price point. You may have also noticed that little pin on the block, and this is actually so that you can cut your miters without damaging the very corner. And there's 2 positions for this pin, and when it's not in use, you can screw it onto the back of the block. And for setup and calibration of this item, there's actually a couple of really nice features. The first thing that we want to do is to set up the window with the pointer so that it reads exactly at 0 on the fence. Once we have that stop block locked into place, you can see that it protrudes beyond that fence just by a little hair. This means we can loosen the 2 knobs on the back of the fence and push that fence over until that stop block rests up right against our table saw blade. Then we can tighten that fence down with the 2 knobs on the back, and if we lift up that stop, you can see it provides just enough clearance between the fence and the blade itself.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Now, just like many miter gauges, if you're getting any sort of slop with the miter bar itself, you can tighten up the fit by simply tightening the washers that are located on the miter bar itself. And the last piece of calibration has to do with making sure that that fence is completely perpendicular to the tabletop of your table saw. Now, mine is square right out of the box, but if yours isn't, you can actually make some adjustments so that that fence is completely perpendicular to your tabletop. If we look at the very back of the miter gauge, there's actually 4 pins that you can adjust with the hex key so that you can adjust the angle of the fence related to the table, allowing you to really dial in the accuracy with this miter gauge. Now let's take a look at the back of the miter gauge. This has got a standard screw knob adjustment feature so that you can rotate the angle anywhere from plus or minus 60 degrees. And you probably noticed it's got a nice magnified pointer so that you can see your angles just a little bit more clear. And if we take a look at the bottom of the miter gauge, you're going to notice a variety of different small indentions. These are for a spring-loaded bearing to fall into to give you detents for some of your most commonly used angles. But let's do a couple of quick cuts to see how accurate this thing is. The first cut I'm going to make is at 90 degrees. And for this cut, I'm simply going to use a scrap piece of plywood. And as I place my square right up against that cut, you can see how beautifully it comes together with my woodpecker square. Now let's adjust that miter gauge to 45 degrees and make that cut. And I'll once again use that same piece of plywood to see what type of results I get. And as I take my delve square, I don't think I can ask for better results than this. So what do I think about this thing? Well, I'll have to admit I'm completely blown away by this product, especially for just $59.99. This thing feels so much more well built than that Bauer, and I'll have to give this item another knockout from Going Make. But what can you get for an extra 30 bucks? Well, to understand that, we need to take a look at their next level of miter gauges. Before we dive into our next miter gauge, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, comment, and share this video. It truly does help out this channel. Also, if you haven't checked out my website or haven't been there in a bit, go to Flynndogwoodwork.com, where you can get access to all sorts of fun woodworking accessories like all the t-shirts that I wear in my videos, and I've just released some new models of shirts. And just like always, if any of these going make tools that we take a look at today interest you, I'll be sure to leave links in the description below so that you can go check them out for yourself. And lastly, if you'd like to support this channel even further, check out my channel memberships, where you can get early access to all my videos as well as one member video a week. Now let's get back into those going make tools. So this next miter gauge has all the same features of the $59 going make miter gauge and then some, and the new features are the ones I want to talk about. First off, the fence on this one is considerably larger, coming in at just over 18 inches, while the $59 one is just over 14 inches, and the bower is less than 14 inches. The next significant difference has to do with the miter bar, as it comes in at just under 18 inches, which is about 4 inches longer than the $59 one. You'll also notice that this one has a plastic plate on the bottom of the fence so that the fence can slide just a little easier on the tabletop of your table saw. Now let's take a look at the miter system itself, as this functions just a little bit differently than the $59 one. Instead of having a spring-loaded bearing that slides into an indention, this actually has a pin that slides into one of 13 different holes for different detents. And instead of only going to 65 degrees like the $59 one, this actually has two detents at 67.5 degrees. And with one of the points of the red hexagon pointing forward, you can adjust this miter gauge to any angle in between plus or minus 67.5 degrees. And when you want that pin to slide into one of the detents, you simply place one of the flat surfaces of that hexagon forward and it will slide into the detent. And the last extra item that you get with this $89 going make miter gauge is a micro adjust feature. By rotating the silver knob on the top, you can make micro adjustments both forward and backwards with the stop block depending on your needs. And if we look even closer at that micro adjustment feature, you can see how small of a change you can make with this tool, as each tick mark on this scale is 1/1000th of an inch. And even the magnified pointer is just a little bit easier to read with its red background and white pointer. But how's this thing actually cut? Well, once again, we'll take that scrap piece of plywood and cut at 90 degrees with this miter gauge. And after we make the cut, I'll take it over to my table, take my woodpeckers, and you can see this lies at a perfect 90 degrees. Next up, let's take our miter gauge, set it to 45, make our cut, and see how that turns out. And as to be expected, once I take my delve square right to this corner, you can see it's at a perfect 45 degrees. So what's the verdict? Well, because of its increased fence length and its ability to make micro adjustments on the fly, this thing is a knockout in my opinion once again. But we have one more miter gauge to take a look at, and this one's got all the same features of that $89 one plus another feature. Now this miter gauge is all about the fence, allowing you to make bigger cuts with that stop block than you can with the other miter gauges. And this miter gauge is once again another 30 bucks than that $89 one, coming in at 119 bucks. Let's take a look at some of the features of this miter gauge. Now when the fence is collapsed, it's got a total fence length of about 18.5 inches long. But don't worry, with that telescoping wing, this thing can reach a lot further. Let's take a look at how that works. Now when you're not using the stop, the fence can give support to items as long as 32.5 inches long. But I'm more interested in using this thing with the stop. Let's take a look at how that stop works in combination with that extension arm. To use the stop with the extension arm, we first want to move that stop until it reads at exactly 16 inches. It's at this point that we want to lock that stop down by simply turning the knob that's on the very top of the stop.
So are you gonna polish your knob?
Now we can turn the knob that's on the very back of the fence to loosen up that telescoping arm. It's at this point that we want to move our attention from the scale we have been using with the stop to the scale that's on the direct center of that fence. This scale actually runs in the opposite direction, and as we pull that telescoping arm out, you can get your readout by looking at the two black pointers on the very center of that fence. And it's this measurement that's going to give you the exact distance between your table saw blade and the stop itself. And to lock that measurement in place, all you need to do is to tighten the knob once again that's on the back of the fence. And with that telescoping arm fully extended and used in combination with that stop, you can make a cut just over 30 inches long. But none of these extra features matter if this thing can't cut accurately, so let's first make a cut at 90 degrees and see how well it does. And after I make my cut, I'll once again grab my woodpecker square, and you can see this is at a perfect 90 degrees. But let's get this thing set up at a 45 degree miter and see how well that does. And after I make my cut, I'll once again grab that delve square and see how it comes out. And as you can see, it's at a perfect 45. Well, once again, I'm completely impressed by this miter gauge. For an extra 30 bucks, you get the extension that allows you to cut larger pieces of material, and for that reason alone, I rate this as a knockout once again. Our next tool is something that I'm just a little bit skeptical about, because for the price, this thing beats all the competition. And this, of course, is their drill guide, meant to compete with some of their higher end competitors like Rockler and Mousecraft. Let's start to dive a little bit deeper into this drill guide by first taking a look at the base of the guide. As you can see, it's got 4 rubber pads on the base for stability, but if you know anything about drill guides, these can tend to be unstable. Another thing that I immediately notice about the base is it's a bit smaller than a lot of its competitors, coming in at about 5 inches wide by 6 inches long, which may cause issues down the road, as most of the competitors have dimensions of about 7 inches wide by 7 inches long. Now, if you look at the very top of the base of the drill guide, you'll see that there's a couple of small silver pins on top.
Pin twins!
If we remove these pins from the top of the base and screw them into the bottom, these will actually create a center finder for the drill when you go to drill your holes. On the very top of the drill guide, there's also another feature which is pretty nice, and that's a V-groove, which is perfect for drilling end around stock.
Groovy, baby. Yeah.
But what if you need to drill at an angle with this guide? Well, it actually has quite a large range of motion, going plus or minus 60 degrees. To adjust the angle, you simply rotate the 2 handles on the side of the drill guide in the opposite direction. Once it's been loosened, you can rotate the drill guide forward and backward to your desired angle, and then you can lock it into place by simply twisting those handles again. Now, using it in this fashion, you can hit almost any angle you want, but it also has detents for some of your most commonly used angles. By simply taking the 2 pins that are on the interior of the rails, you can lock it into place by screwing those pins in place. And the pins allow you to lock it into place at 90, 50, 45, 30, and 15 degrees. You'll also notice on the base of the guide there's alignment pins so that you can make sure that you're drilling exactly where you want. Now let's take a look at the 2 rails. On one rail, you're going to notice there's a spring, and this is just to give you a little bit of pushback as you go to drill out your holes. On the other rail, you're going to notice a stop, and this can be adjusted and used in combination with setup blocks so that you can drill at the appropriate depth. And both rails have a knob on top that can be removed so that you can take out both the spring and the stop block so that you can drill at your maximum depth.
That's deep.
And finally, let's take a look at the chuck, which can accommodate some of your largest drill bits since it's a robust 1/2 inch chuck. Believe it or not, this is actually a keyless chuck. Simply slide your bit in and rotate the bottom portion while holding the top portion steady, and you can tighten your bit into place. And once it's fully secured, you'll hear it lock into place with a little click. And if you'd like to tighten it even further, it even comes with a small wrench that you can place right onto the shaft of the chuck to tighten it even further. And after that, all you need to do is to attach any standard drill, and you can drill out all your holes with precision and ease. And once again, since this thing is so precise and is so affordable and has all of the features of those major brands, I'm once again going to have to rate this a knockout. So after taking a look at all of Going Make's latest tools, where do I stand? Now, my experience with Going Make has been pretty stellar. Now, they won't always compete with some of your higher end brands, but they are putting out quality products for an affordable price. And no-name brands like Going Make allow you to get into some tools that you may not be able to afford yet and get some quality results that you can't get with any other product. And because of this, I'm very happy to give all of these Going Make tools in today's video a knockout rating. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on checking out all of these tools. Before we get into Bert's Best at the end of this video, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and share this video. And if you have a second, check out Flynndogwoodwork.com, where you can get access to all sorts of fun woodworking accessories like all the t-shirts that I wear in my videos, and I've just released some new models of shirts. And if any of these tools we took a look at today interest you, just like with all my videos, I'll leave links in the description below so that you can go check them out for yourself. And finally, if you'd like to support this channel even further, check out my channel memberships, where you can get early access to all my videos as well as one member video a week. Until next time, take care as always. All right, let's get it. So when I was in the Army, I got in trouble by my drill sergeant. He told me I didn't see you at camouflage training this morning. I said, "Thank you, sir." You know, Grandpap used to tell me that women are like square roots. If they're less than 25, you just do them in your head. Yesterday, I saw a carpenter square under a shade tree. So I thought to myself, I guess it really is 90 degrees in the shade. This year, my son's been panhandling as a mime, and he's not very good. So when he came over, I told him, I don't think you're cut out to be a mime. So he said, was it something I said? I told him exactly. In England, most knots are a cut above, but circumcision is a cut below. Recently, I cut off 2 fingers on my hand with my table saw, so I went to the doctor and asked him if I'll ever be able to write again. He said probably, but I wouldn't count on it. You know, when I was younger, I used to shave my privates with a barber's razor. Not anymore though, I just don't have the balls to do it.